from ecovegangal.com. Over the years, I've become really passionate about reducing the amount of plastic that I use. In fact, I do everything I can to avoid it. I don't really remember how this started, but one source of big inspiration for me has been a blog that used to be called Fake Plastic Fish, but it's now called My Plastic Free Life, and it's been written by this woman in the Bay Area named Beth Terry. So I was beyond thrilled when I found out that she wrote a book, Plastic Free: How I Kicked the Plastic Habit and How You Can Too. I've been reading it completely plastic free, well, unless you count some of the plastic parts on this iPad, via the Kindle app on here. I'll talk more about later how the actual book is plastic free as well. But I want to tell you more about this and why I really encourage you to read this and to learn more about plastics. Beth Terry writes in a really amusing, down-to-earth type of way. It's incredibly accessible, and she just tells her whole story, her personal journey about how she went from using about 4 pounds of plastic per month to just under 2 pounds of plastic per year. Incredible! And reading through her blog has always been really informative, but it's nice to have it in this compact book now where she's really written it out section by section. There are 10 chapters and each one covers different elements of plastic and teaches people why they should care about those parts of plastic in the world and how they can avoid it. There's tons of resources in here. Even if you've never thought about plastic or how you use plastic and how it's affecting the environment, this book is not going to feel threatening to you. It's not meant to make you feel guilty. It's actually meant to inspire you and get excited about all the changes that you can make in your life and how it can impact the entire world. In fact, one big message that Beth has in this book is that we can actually do a lot as individuals. It's not just going to impact our own lives, maybe the people around us, but Beth is like a perfect example about how someone who wasn't even involved with environmentalism just started making changes and let her voice be heard. She was able to shift the minds of all sorts of big companies and thousands of people around the world. She makes you realize that you do not have to have plastic in your life. All right. Maybe you kind of do. It's incredibly hard to avoid because in this book you realize plastic is absolutely everywhere, even in things like chewing gum. Seriously, I cannot tell you how many things I read in that book and I was like, oh my god, I cannot believe that there's plastic in it. But she really believes that we can move towards a world where we use very little plastic like she does. Living plastic free doesn't have to be horrible. You don't have to feel deprived. You can actually feel even happier and become even healthier because of all the issues with plastic for your health and the environment. Plastic has a major impact on people all around us, and a lot of people just don't realize it because it's not publicized. Beth really promotes doing it yourself, so she has all sorts of like cool creative ways to make your own things to replace the plastic in your life, and all these recipes for things like food that are in plastic. And that's a big thing for me personally. I love making food completely package free, and I was amazed at all the different ways I hadn't even been thinking about it. You'll also learn a lot about some things that have probably been kind of confusing to you, like recycling, for example. When I read this book, I realized there's so much about recycling that I didn't know, and I wanted to know, but I felt like it was too much information. But Beth just puts it in these little paragraphs and you can read it and understand it really quickly. You can learn more about what biodegradable means, what compostable means, how to, choose what products and how to read labels. You can learn more about landfills, all the different types of plastic. So if you ever see those little symbols on plastic and you're like, I don't know what these numbers mean. Is this safe for me? Can I recycle this? There are tons of great pieces of information about body care and household items and things for your pets, so you can learn about the things that you want to avoid and then find out much better alternatives that you can make or buy. You can learn about things like BPA and phthalates, PVC and Teflon. What do those phrases mean? You've probably heard them, but are they really as bad as they seem? And perhaps the best chapter in the book is all about how to cope when you're feeling overwhelmed. Some people might read this book and feel like, oh my gosh, the world is just crazy and it's never gonna get better, despite all of Beth's positivity. But she breaks it down and she says, she feels that way, even though she knows that there's so much hope. There are days where she just feels like there isn't. So she's actually come up with a list of things that you can do to just relax and inspire yourself and keep moving forward so that you can continue to make a difference. There's no way I can possibly summarize everything that's in it, but I wanted to share with you a few things that kind of shocked me. The number one thing is I did not know that plastic bags are often coated with animal fat. Huh? Yeah, let that sink in a little bit. It's used as a slipping agent, so if you ever noticed how plastic bags feel a little bit slippery, yeah, that's animal fat, and that's disgusting. So those of us who are vegetarians and vegans or care about animals at all, get grossed out about stuff like that, you probably want to stop using plastic bags. Bottled water is actually more expensive per gallon than gasoline is. What? I've just absolutely gone against bottled water, not just for money, but for all the reasons I mentioned in this book. But that fact alone, I was like, wow, okay. Probably the biggest lesson that I learned here was about recycling. Recycling should actually be our last resort. So we should try to do everything we can to avoid recycling something, which is like the exact opposite of what we've been taught. And of course there's a lot of controversies there and a lot more information. It's not that simple. But it's something to really consider, and I think that that's the big message with this book, is we have to kind of retrain ourselves, re-educate ourselves, rethink about things, and think of other ways that we can really just avoid and replace and reuse, as opposed to recycling and just thinking it's going away into some magic place. We can't think about just the things that are in our hands, that are in front of our eyes. We have to think about what happens before and after we use a product. Well, I hope you'll feel excited as I am and interested to read this book. You can actually click a link down below. It'll lead you to a website where you can buy this book completely plastic-free. The book itself has no plastics in it whatsoever. Everything was considered, from the binding to the covers. It's really, really cool. You can also get it on mobile devices like the iPad, the Kindle, and the Nook. If you want to get it on the iPad, you have to get the Kindle app. Definitely visit Beth's blog, myplasticfreelife.com. She's got great guides in there. If you're not ready to invest the time or the money into the book, you can just go on there and learn a lot. I want to share with you one quote to wrap up this video. Thought this was really impactful. Learning to live with less plastic requires not only a willingness to experiment, but also to fail, to laugh at ourselves, and to try again. Over and over, until we finally get it right and move on to the next adventure. I'm going to put some more information into a write-up on ecovegangal.com. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and you can subscribe right here to see more videos like this in the future. You can follow me on all the social media networks where I'm always chatting about this type of information and talking with people like Beth Terry and other people that inspire me to think differently about the environment. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts, and I'll see you soon. Bye!